Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're exploring the life of Abraham with a series of challenging questions that will test your knowledge of this key biblical figure. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1. What was Abraham's original name before God changed it? A. Abram. B. Abimelech. C. Aaron. D. Adam. Answer: A. Abram. Genesis 17:5 states that Abraham's original name was Abram before God changed it to Abraham as part of establishing the covenant, signifying that he would become the father of many nations. Question 2. Who was Abraham's father? A. Nahor. B. Terah. C. Haran. D. Lot. Answer: B. Terah. Genesis 11:27 identifies Terah as Abraham's father, placing the beginning of Abraham's story within his family's journey from Ur of the Chaldeans to Haran. Question 3. What city was Abraham originally from? A. Canaan. B. Haran. C. Ur of the Chaldeans. D. Jerusalem. Answer: C. Ur of the Chaldeans. Abraham originally lived in Ur of the Chaldeans before God called him to move to a land that he would show him, as mentioned in Genesis 11:31. Question 4. What was the name of Abraham's wife? A. Hagar. B. Sarah. C. Keturah. D. Rebekah. Answer: B. Sarah. Genesis 17:15 states that Abraham's wife's name was originally Sarai, which God changed to Sarah as part of the covenant that she would become the mother of nations. Question 5. How old was Abraham when he left Haran after God called him? At 75. B. 100. C. 65. D. 50. Answer: A. 75. Genesis 12:4 notes that Abraham was 75 years old when he departed from Haran after God called him to go to a land he would show him. Question 6. What covenant did God make with Abraham? A. The Mosaic covenant. B. The Abrahamic covenant. C. The New covenant. D. The Davidic covenant. Answer: B. The Abrahamic covenant. The Abrahamic covenant, detailed in Genesis 17, was God's promise to make Abraham the father of many nations, to bless him, and to give his descendants the land of Canaan. Question 7. What sign did God give Abraham to seal the covenant? A. Baptism. B. Circumcision. C. Sacrifice. D. Sabbath. Answer: B. Circumcision. Genesis 17:10-11 specifies circumcision as the sign of the covenant between God and Abraham, required of Abraham and his descendants as a perpetual sign of their commitment to God. Question 8. Who was Hagar to Abraham? A. His daughter. B. His sister. C. His servant. D. His cousin. Answer: C. His servant. Hagar was Sarah's Egyptian servant whom Sarah gave to Abraham as a wife to bear a child because Sarah was barren, as described in Genesis 16:1-3. Question 9. What was the name of the son Abraham had with Hagar? A. Isaac. B. Jacob. C. Ishmael. D. Joseph. Answer: C. Ishmael. Genesis 16:15 reports that Hagar bore Abraham a son whom he named Ishmael, fulfilling God's earlier promise to Hagar about her offspring. Question 10. What did God promise about Abraham's descendants? A. They would be enslaved. B. They would be as numerous as the stars. C. They would all be kings. D. They would be scattered across the earth. Answer B. They would be as numerous as the stars. In Genesis 15:5, God took Abraham outside and promised him that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky, a metaphor for an exceedingly large number. Question 11. How old was Abraham when his son Isaac was born? A. 100. B. 90. C. 85. D. 110. Answer A. 100. Genesis 21:5 states that Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to Sarah, marking a significant moment in the fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham. Question 12. What was the test of faith that God gave Abraham involving Isaac? A. To send Isaac away. B. To have Isaac fight a battle. C. To sacrifice Isaac. D. To deny Isaac's heritage. Answer C. To sacrifice Isaac. In Genesis 22, God tested Abraham's faith by asking him to sacrifice his son Isaac on Mount Moriah, a command later revoked by God's provision of a ram as a substitute offering. Question 13. What land did God promise to Abraham and his descendants? A. Egypt. B. Babylon. C. Canaan. D. Rome. Answer C. Canaan. Genesis 17:8 and other passages repeatedly state that God promised the land of Canaan to Abraham and his descendants as an everlasting possession. Question 14. Who was the king of Salem that blessed Abraham? A. Abimelech. B. Melchizedek. C. Ahab. D. Saul. Answer B. Melchizedek. Genesis 14:18-20 describes Melchizedek, the king of Salem, blessing Abraham. Melchizedek is portrayed as a priest of God Most High and brought out bread and wine. Question 15. What did Abraham do in response to the king of Salem's blessing? A. He gave him a tenth of everything. B. He refused the blessing. C. He pledged loyalty. D. He asked for a prophecy. Answer A. He gave him a tenth of everything. After Melchizedek blessed Abraham, Abraham gave him a tenth of everything he had as a tithe and an act of reverence, according to Genesis 14:20. Question 16. What significant act did Abraham perform on all the male members of his household? A. He gave them new names. B. He shaved their heads. C. He circumcised them. D. He blessed them. Answer C. He circumcised them. Genesis 17:10-27 details that Abraham circumcised every male in his household as a sign of the covenant with God, demonstrating his obedience to God's commands. Question 17. Who was Abraham's nephew that traveled with him to Canaan? A. Haran. B. Lot. C. Melchizedek. D. Nahor. Answer B. Lot. Genesis 12:4-5 states that Lot, Abraham's nephew, traveled with him from Haran to Canaan, highlighting their close familial ties and Lot's initial involvement in Abraham's journey. Question 18. What was the outcome of the dispute between Abraham's and Lot's herdsmen? A. They divided the land. B. Abraham left Canaan. C. Lot was captured. D. They went to war. Answer: A. They divided the land. Genesis 13 to 5:11 describes that due to strife between their herdsmen, Abraham allowed Lot to choose his portion of the land first, leading Lot to choose the Jordan Valley, while Abraham remained in Canaan. Question 19. How did God appear to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre? A. As a burning bush. B. As a whirlwind. C. As three men. D. As a cloud of smoke. Answer: C. As three men. Genesis 18 to 1-2 records that God appeared to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre in the form of three men who were entertained and fed by Abraham in a gesture of hospitality. Question 20. What was Sarah's reaction when she overheard she would have a son? A. She was angry. B. She wept. C. She laughed. D. She sang. Answer: C. She laughed. In Genesis 18:12, Sarah laughed to herself when she overheard the prediction that she would have a son, reflecting her disbelief due to her old age. Question 21. What cities did Abraham plead with God to spare for the sake of the righteous? A. Jericho and A. B. Sodom and Gomorrah. C. Bethel and Hebron. D. Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Answer: B. Sodom and Gomorrah. Genesis 18:20-33 details how Abraham interceded with God, pleading for the sparing of Sodom and Gomorrah if righteous people could be found there, showing his compassion and concern for the inhabitants. Question 22. Who was the firstborn son of Abraham? A. Isaac. B. Ishmael. C. Jacob. D. Esau. Answer: B. Ishmael. Ishmael, born to Hagar, was Abraham's firstborn son. His birth is documented in Genesis 16:15-16, prior to the birth of Isaac. Question 23. What did God ask Abraham to sacrifice as a sign of his faith? A. A lamb. B. A dove. C. His son Isaac. D. A calf. Answer: C. His son Isaac. Genesis 22:1-2 describes God's command to Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac as a test of faith, a pivotal moment in Abraham's life that exemplified his obedience and faith. Question 24. Where did Abraham go to sacrifice Isaac? A. Mount Moriah. B. Mount Sinai. C. Mount Ararat. D. Mount Carmel. Answer: A. Mount Moriah. Abraham took Isaac to Mount Moriah for the sacrifice as directed by God. This place later becomes significant in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. Question 25. How did God intervene in the sacrifice of Isaac? A. By sending an angel. B. By stopping time. C. By a thunderstorm. D. By an earthquake. Answer: A. By sending an angel. Genesis 22:11-12 narrates that an angel of the Lord called out to Abraham from heaven to stop him just as he was about to sacrifice Isaac, providing a ram as a substitute offering. Question 26. What was Abraham's reaction to Sarah's death? A. He celebrated. B. He mourned and wept. C. He ignored it. D. He left Canaan. Answer: B. He mourned and wept. Genesis 23:2 records that Abraham mourned and wept for Sarah after her death, showing his deep love and respect for his wife. Question 27. Where did Abraham purchase a burial plot for Sarah? A. The cave of Machpelah. B. The field of Ephron. C. Near the oaks of Mamre. D. At Mount Sinai. Answer: A. The cave of Machpelah. Abraham purchased the cave of Machpelah in Hebron from Ephron the Hittite as a family tomb, starting with the burial of Sarah, as detailed in Genesis 23:16-20. Question 28. What instructions did Abraham give to this servant when finding a wife for Isaac? A. To find a wife from Egypt. B. To find a wife from his own countrymen. C. To choose the wealthiest bride. D. To take Isaac with him. Answer: B. To find a wife from his own countrymen. In Genesis 24:3-4, Abraham instructed his servant to go to his homeland and relatives to choose a wife for Isaac, emphasizing the importance of maintaining family lineage and values. Question 29. Who did Abraham's servant choose as a wife for Isaac? A. Leah. B. Rachel. C. Rebekah. D. Sarah. Answer: C. Rebekah. Genesis 24:15-67 describes how Abraham's servant chose Rebekah, who belonged to Abraham's extended family, as a wife for Isaac, following divine signs and her acts of kindness at the well. Question 30. How was the marriage of Isaac and Rebekah arranged? A. By a mutual agreement between Isaac and Rebekah. B. Through a marriage broker. C. By Abraham's servant following a sign from God. D. Isaac kidnapped Rebekah. Answer: C. By Abraham's servant following a sign from God. The marriage was arranged by Abraham's servant, who prayed for a sign from God to select the right wife for Isaac, choosing Rebekah based on her fulfilling the conditions of his prayer, illustrating divine guidance and providence in their union. Question 31. What was the name of the place where Abraham almost sacrificed Isaac? A. Mount Moriah. B. Mount Sinai. C. Mount Ararat. D. Mount Carmel. Answer: A. Mount Moriah. Genesis 22:2 mentions that God directed Abraham to the region of Moriah to offer Isaac as a sacrifice, a place significant in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. Question 32. How did God reconfirm his covenant with Abraham after the sacrifice episode? A. By a dream. B. By a flood. C. By a voice from heaven. D. By sending a prophet. Answer: C. By a voice from heaven. After Abraham demonstrated his faith by being willing to sacrifice Isaac, God reconfirmed his covenant through a voice from heaven, blessing Abraham and his descendants as described in Genesis 22:15-18. Question 33. What were the names of Abraham's sons with Keturah? A. Ishmael and Isaac. B. Zimran, Jokshan, Maiden, Midian, Ishbak, Shuah. C. Esau and Jacob. D. Joseph and Benjamin. Answer: B. Zimran, Jokshan, Maiden, Midian, Ishbak, Shuah. Genesis 25:1-2 lists the sons Abraham had with Keturah, illustrating the breadth of his family and the fulfillment of God's promise to make Abraham the father of many nations. Question 34. How did Abraham ensure that Isaac was his primary heir? A. By sending the other sons away with gifts. B. By buying them land. C. By making a public announcement. D. By writing a will. Answer A. By sending the other sons away with gifts. Genesis 25-5-6 notes that Abraham gave gifts to the sons of his concubines and sent them away from Isaac to ensure that Isaac was his primary heir. Question 35. At what age did Abraham die? A. 175 years. B. 100 years. C. 120 years. D. 150 years. Answer A. 175 years. Genesis 25-7 mentions that Abraham lived to be 175 years old, reflecting the long lifespans of patriarchal figures in Genesis. Question 36. Where was Abraham buried? A. The cave of Machpelah. B. Near the oaks of Mamre. C. In Haran. D. In Ur of the Chaldeans. Answer A. The cave of Machpelah. Abraham was buried in the cave of Machpelah, where he had buried his wife Sarah, as detailed in Genesis 25-9-10. Question 37. Who buried Abraham? A. His servants. B. His sons Isaac and Ishmael. C. His nephew Lot. D. His brother Nahor. Answer B. His sons Isaac and Ishmael. Genesis 25-9 states that his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him, showing a moment of unity between the two brothers. Question 38. What significant character trait is Abraham known for in the Bible? A. His wisdom. B. His patience. C. His faith. D. His strength. Answer C. His faith. Abraham is famously known for his faith, particularly demonstrated when he obeyed God's command to leave his homeland and in his willingness to sacrifice his son Isaac, earning him the title Father of Faith in many religious traditions. Question 39. What was the name of the concubine whom Abraham married after Sarah's death? A. Rachel. B. Leah. C. Keturah. D. Hagar. Answer C. Keturah. Genesis 25-1 mentions that Abraham took another wife named Keturah after Sarah's death, further expanding his lineage. Question 40. What major conflict did Abraham resolve with Abimelech? A. A land dispute. B. A dispute over a well. C. A war over cattle. D. A disagreement over God. Answer B. A dispute over a well. Genesis 21-25-31 describes how Abraham resolved a dispute with Abimelech over a well of water, which Abraham claimed his servants had dug and that Abimelech's servants had seized. Question 41. How did God change Abraham's name and what did it signify? A. From Abram to Abraham, signifying father of many nations. B. From Elon to Abraham, signifying father of heights. C. From Abiel to Abraham, signifying God's father. D. From Aaron to Abraham, signifying high father. Answer A. From Abram to Abraham, signifying father of many nations. Genesis 17-5 explains that God changed Abram's name to Abraham as a symbol of his covenant with him, signifying that he would be the father of many nations. Question 42. What was the primary reason God chose Abraham? A. Because of his great knowledge. B. Because of his strategic location. C. Because of his faith. D. Because of his wealth. Answer C. Because of his faith. Abraham was chosen by God primarily for his faith, as he demonstrated complete trust in God's promises and commands, foundational to his role as a patriarch. Question 43. How is Abraham related to Lot? A. Brother. B. Father. C. Uncle. D. Cousin. Answer: C. Uncle. Genesis 11:27 identifies Lot as Abraham's nephew, the son of Haran, Abraham's brother. Question 44. What promise did God make to Hagar regarding her son Ishmael? A. That he would be a great priest. B. That he would become a wealthy merchant. C. That he would be a king. D. That he would be the father of a great nation. Answer: D. That he would be the father of a great nation. Genesis 21:18 reveals God's promise to Hagar that her son Ishmael would also be the father of a great nation, indicating God's blessing upon him as well. Question 45. What was Abraham's reaction when God told him about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah? A. He was indifferent. B. He pleaded with God to spare the cities. C. He celebrated. D. He left the area immediately. Answer: B. He pleaded with God to spare the cities. Genesis 18:23-32 shows Abraham pleading with God to spare Sodom and Gomorrah if righteous people could be found there, demonstrating his compassion and intercessory nature. Question 46. What role did Melchizedek play in Abraham's life? A. He was an enemy. B. He was a mentor. C. He was a priest who blessed him. D. He was a servant. Answer: C. He was a priest who blessed him. Genesis 14:18-20 describes Melchizedek, king of Salem and priest of God Most High, blessing Abraham and Abraham, giving him a tenth of everything, illustrating a spiritual acknowledgement and connection. Question 47. How did Abraham respond to the king of Sodom after rescuing Lot? A. He demanded a reward. B. He refused any reward. C. He formed an alliance. D. He took prisoners. Answer: B. He refused any reward. Genesis 14:21-24 records that Abraham refused to take anything from the king of Sodom after rescuing Lot, maintaining his integrity and ensuring that God alone would be credited for his prosperity. Question 48. How many sons did Abraham have in total? A. 2. B. 8. C. 6. D. 3. Answer: B. 8. Abraham had 8 sons in total: Isaac with Sarah, Ishmael with Hagar, and 6 sons: Zimran, Jokshan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shual with Keturah. Question 49. What blessings did God proclaim over Isaac, Abraham's son? A. Wealth and power. B. Numerous descendants and possession of lands. C. Wisdom and strength. D. Eternal life. Answer: B. Numerous descendants and possession of lands. Genesis 26:3-4 outlines God's blessing over Isaac, reaffirming the promises made to Abraham, including numerous descendants and the possession of lands. Question 50. In what way is Abraham considered a patriarch in the context of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam? A. As a spiritual leader. B. As a founding father. C. As a prophet. D. All of the above. Answer: D. All of the above. Abraham is considered a patriarch, founding father, and prophet in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, revered for his role in establishing monotheism and his exemplification of faith and obedience to God.